Catherine Nell, where are you? It's time for us to share our story.
Mom, I don't think I can do this. My stomach hurts.
Are you seriously doing this right now? It can't be that bad.
I swear, like butterflies mixed with cramps, mixed with just like a smidge of IBS. It's not right.
Well, suck it up, Buttercup. It's our turn. Get out here.
All right. Jeez Louise. Damn, woman. Sometimes it is serious and you hardly believe me.
Oh, like the time when you got a hangnail and thought your finger was going to fall off. Please, I needed a magnifying glass to see that mortal wound.
All right, well, what about the time I fell off my tricycle and you still made me go on a play date with a fat lip?
Your dad and I had a date.
There was a rock in my lip. And all you did was feed me applesauce and tell me to suck it up.
You were fine, weren't you? You always make something out of nothing.
Okay, so I might have been, dare I say, a bit of a drama queen sometimes.
Sometimes? So, like if we put your hair back in a ponytail and one hair was out of place, World War III nearly broke out, or better yet, when the seam of your tights didn't line up with your toes.
But there were some instances where I had a serious injury and you still wouldn't believe me. Remember the contacts I got in high school?
Oh yes, because you needed special colored contacts, because apparently the eye color I gave you wasn't good enough.
Not the point. I had such a reaction to them, my eyes were swollen shut. I begged you to take me to the eye doctor.
It looked like allergies. Forgive me for thinking that you were overreacting again.
I could have gone blind. Remember what the doctor said? It's a good thing that you came in when you did. I had scratches all over my cornea, people.
I apologize.
Yeah, you did. Sure did.
I took you to lunch and the mall. I really had no idea it was that bad, honestly. And didn't we have a nice lunch and shopping trip after that? I apologize profusely if I recall, and yet you still bring it up.
Well, considering I almost lost my eyeballs, it was only fair of you to do all of that and never live it down, just saying.
Do you have to be so over-dramatic? Honestly, I don't know where you get it from.
Growing up, my mother wasn't always this cold. She had her warm and fuzzy side for sure, but she always tried to teach me the power of tough love, like tough love. Now looking back, I of course genuinely appreciate it. But back then, if I complained about any illness or ailment, her first reaction was, are you bleeding? Do you have a fever? Are you throwing up? And if all my limbs were attached and I could still hold myself upright, we have low standards of well-being at the Gray household, apparently. She would follow up with, suck it up, Buttercup. And I suppose I had my moments of being a little bit theatrical. However, there were some times that I was told that I needed to suck it up, when truthfully I didn't need to. And it feels really good to be right. I remember when I was 8 years old, I had pizza for lunch that day and pizza for dinner that night, which sounds like the dream, right? But then I made the mistake of watching Planet of the Apes for some reason, and I thought maybe the room was spinning from watching the weirdest movie ever created, or maybe it was all the pizza. But my heart started to race, and my mouth started to get that watery feeling. You know what I'm talking about. And I knew immediately that I was gonna get sick. So I ran to the bathroom and proceeded to puke everywhere. My heart was still racing, and I began to cry because I was sure that at the age of 8, I was having a heart attack. I was screaming at my mom to help me, which she lovingly did. She called my grandpa, and he said, she's having a panic attack. And at the time, I didn't know what that meant. But that would be the first of many. Many nights of not being able to sleep because I was so petrified of hearing the rhythm of my own heartbeat in a dark, silent room. Many nights of calling my mom to come pick me up from sleepovers because everyone else was asleep except me. And many nights of staying in for the crippling fear of being judged or making a mistake. And for a long time, I played this off as just being a weirdo, which is still true, but maybe I was extremely stressed. But then I got to college and it only escalated. I was napping around 5 hours a day. Most people call that sleeping. And I was always on the verge of tears and I could never really figure out why. Finally, one night, I found myself lying on the bedroom floor, doing that super hard, silent cry that physically hurts to do. Surrounded by the clothes that I had ripped out of my closet, all because I couldn't figure out what to wear. In a matter of seconds, my mind had gone down the biggest, darkest, most irrational spiral. I can't find clothes. I don't have anything cute. My body looks disgusting in everything I own. My God, why did I eat that Big Mac 5 years ago? My friends are all so beautiful and they have the best clothes. I bet they think I'm ugly. I bet they invited me out because they pity me. I bet my boyfriend doesn't even really love me. I bet my family thinks I'm so annoying and needy, and I bet that everyone would be much happier if I was gone. And that's how I ended up on the ground. My brain beat the shit out of me until I was on the floor. After realizing that something clearly wasn't right, I went to the doctor, and turns out I have anxiety and depression. It took me a while, but I finally gained the courage to call my mom, not knowing how she might react. I pretty much expected her usual, "Suck it up, Buttercup," but I had questions. I needed to know, where did I get this from?
My phone rang one night, a call from Katie, usually pretty innocent, always full of chatter. Imagine that. But that call was different. My heart sank as my sweet daughter shared her story with me of her anxiety and sadness. Why did this have to happen to her? I patiently listened, cried, and wished that I wasn't 90 miles away. I wanted to get in my car and drive to her and make it all go away. But I knew I could not fix her. I could not wish this away. I could not do anything but support her, love her, and guide her to the help she needed. I was so proud of her for sharing this with me, but at the same time, scared for her as well. Because this call was not a suck it up, Buttercup call. It was a call for help, a cry for help. And this time, I knew where she gets it from. You see, I had my own moment, one where I too felt that I could not go on, not one more minute. Life was hard and scary. It was about 18 years ago, and in my mind, things were pretty sucky. My boss, my amazing mentor, retired. There was new leadership, and the job that I really loved became a daily headache. My kids were super busy. Laundry, homework, laundry, get in the car, get out of the car, over and over again. My husband had just started his own company. He was rarely in town to help with kid details, house details, any of it. Honestly, it was awful. I felt like a single parent, my marriage sucked, and I hated my job. I was so completely overwhelmed. I had a safety net, but as someone who hates to ask for help, I would just suck it up, right? At this point, I found myself going deeper and deeper down a rabbit hole of despair. Now, when I was a little girl, I too was told to suck it up. I just added Buttercup to make it sound better. My mom was a tough old bird. She had a hard life and there was no crying over spilled milk in her world, no crying over anything. Just get over it. And so from one mom to the other, the suck it up was passed down. Now, I will add, I also had a dad who was the best at making boo-boos better, providing comfort and nurturing. And so because of him, in our house, there was a healthy balance of suck it up and here, let me help you. So let's go back to 18 years ago. I was done. I didn't want to do this life anymore. It was not like one of those Hallmark movies where you wish for a new life and then you wake up and suddenly you have no kids. You're the top exec in your firm and Andrew Walker is your boyfriend. Now my Hallmark girls will totally get that one. This was, I don't want this anymore. I want out. I also remember just being so tired. And I had started down that lovely path of menopause. And I was having trouble sleeping. So I had asked for a prescription to help out with that. Rare for me to do that. And those of you who really know me, ew, medicine, I don't take it, I don't like it, ew. It was a spring afternoon, and I came home for lunch. The windows were open, and the cats were on the bed in our room, and I sat on the edge of my bed, looking at that bottle of pills. And for that split second in time, I thought to myself, what if? What if I just took them and went to sleep? I could just go to sleep, and it would all go away. What if? And then, just like that, I heard the front door open and a voice. Honey, what are you doing home? It was my husband. He never came home for lunch or in the middle of the day. I quickly took that bottle and shoved it in the drawer, and I am giving credit to divine intervention. My husband came upstairs, took one look at me, and knew that something was wrong. He hugged me for a very long time. That afternoon, I made my call for help, my cry for help. From that moment on, I realized I didn't have to suck it up. I was okay. I was gonna be okay. And I also knew that Katie would be okay because she is her mama's girl.
That day, my mom didn't tell me to suck it up. She listened. We both ugly cried. And when I was all done sharing with her, I still thought something was wrong. Something must be wrong for me to feel this way. Then I finally faced the fact that my childhood panic attacks were turning into full-blown anxiety and depression. And she shocked me by saying me too. She understood.
We both have had to come to terms with the fact that we struggle emotionally sometimes, not all the time, and it is okay. I know some of you might be thinking, Sue and Katie Gray? I mean, really. But as you can see, even those of us who appear to have it all together sometimes fall apart.
It has been quite the journey, but by now, we know what sets the other person off. And we don't hesitate to call each other, lean on close friends, pray, and seek professional help. Don't be afraid to talk about how you are feeling. It really does make a difference. It can be life-saving. If you haven't started the conversation with your daughter or your mother or whomever, it is never too late, and don't let the fear of judgment get in the way. She can't decide, all right? I just want to hold hands with her.
Our relationship is so much stronger and deeper as a result of the conversations that we've had as a mother and daughter. But for real, if she tells me about that hangnail one more time, you know what I have to say about that.